Welcome to Edexcel AS monthly webinar series. So this webinar is based on Unit 2, topic of 4C, biodiversity and conservation. We have a very interesting question today, and you can see here the part of the European map, and take a look at these countries. Here, just close to Italy, we have Slovenia, just below the Austria, and then Croatia, and further away here, Bulgaria and Greece. So why I showed this map? Some of the young scientists, they try to investigate the evolutionary biology in these caves located in these countries. So they spent many hours and days and months finding some kind of interesting information. And after finding this information, such as animals, plants, and they investigate further the evolution of these organisms and how they are important for our lives and what we can learn from biology. So here you can see a special organism called olm, and ancestors are the amphibians, also called human fish because it's the human-like skin and the flesh appearance. And these animals, it's very useful for them to doing many research and investigating after that in the labs, the evolutionary relationship with the other organisms and how we can learn science from these organisms. So after all they have done, they came up with the ideas like ancestors, how evolutionary this has happened, and what are the important concepts behind this. And they write a scientific article, and then the scientific article they send for the publication. When they do this one, as you know how scientific articles are accepted, so it's very important to know in this case. So one thing is called peer review process. That means expertise of this area study this further study this investigation what they have written, and if you want they can also repeating some of the experiment to check whether these things are okay or not. After that they analyze and check carefully the statistics and also check the other published articles, and they accept this article and then it's valid. So here's some of the information we can find from these articles. Animals that live only underground caves are called troglobites. Aquatic troglobites live in water in caves. Terrestrial troglobites live on the floors and walls of caves. The graph below shows the number of species of aquatic troglobites and terrestrial troglobites in 4 European countries: Bulgaria, Croatia, Greece, and Slovenia. So white bar indicate the aquatic one, and the terrestrial one coming up with the gray bars. Right. Using information in the graph, identify which country has the lowest biodiversity of troglobite. I think recap what is biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety and variation of a living organism, and we learn this under 3 levels. One is species diversity, and the genetic diversity, and ecosystem diversity. Species diversity is number of species, and genetic diversity is number of alleles in a species, and ecosystem diversity is number of ecosystems, different ecosystems. So coming back, lowest biodiversity, in this case species biodiversity, so we can see lowest species found in Bulgaria. So if you add these 2 bars together, number is 190, so which is a little bit higher than the Greece one. But the others two, Croatia and Slovenia, and Croatia has the highest biodiversity. Using the information from the graph, compare the biodiversity of troglobites in Greece and Slovenia. So we're going to compare the biodiversity. As you know, that biodiversity can be compared in many ways. So we learned one thing is the biodiversity index, the D value, biodiversity index, and we can use this to compare the species richness. The other value is heterozygosity index. Again, we learned this one. We can compare the allele frequencies of species. And here biodiversity is comparing the biodiversity. We can see Greece and Slovenia. So we can see Slovenia has the highest biodiversity, or biodiversity increase in Slovenia. Then we can say biodiversity increase as a percentage. I mean, data manipulation, we can calculate that one. And also 2 marks, we can say biodiversity is the number of species. And the Slovenia has the highest number of species. After calculating, we can come up like this. So 195 when you add these 2 bars, and if you add these 2 bars, 375. So the percentage increase is the difference between this divided by the old value into 100. So here is the formula we use: new value minus old value divided by old value into 100. So as per that, we can write like this, and it is a 92%. So then I write biodiversity is the number of species. Slovenia has more biodiversity compared to Greece. Slovenia has seen a 92% rise in species compared to Greece. As you always know, when I show in a yellow color, this should be the model answer for this kind of a questions. Then what is mean by the niche? That is again definition from the theories. So if we get 2 marks, we can say role of species in its ecosystem. Example, troglobites occupy the underground caves. So 2 marks distributed like that way. Now, next question. An example of troglobites is at the olm. Proteus anguinus. The Proteus is the genus, anguinus is the species, as shown in the photograph below. The species is an amphibian endemic to the caves of Slovenia and Croatia. Olms have a number of special adaptations. Number 1, external gills as adults. So underdeveloped eyes are not well developed. Higher sense of hearing and higher sense of smell and taste. Lack of skin pigmentation and slow metabolic rate. These are some kind of adaptation, and these adaptations you can see there are 3 types. One is physiological, anatomical, and behavioral adaptations. So we can categorize these adaptations. So explain why it is mean by the phrase endemic to the cave of Slovenia, Croatia. So endemic means the animals or organisms only found in a special geographical location. So they found only in Slovenia and Croatia. This all found only in Slovenia and Croatia. So adaptation, external gills, that's anatomical, that's a body structures. Slow metabolic rate, that's a physiology. Streamlined shape is the body's shape, and underdeveloped eyes, again, body is part of the body. So it's clear the physiological adaptation is slow metabolic rate. Olms evolved from small populations of amphibians that lived in caves. These caves become blocked off from other caves by rock barriers, suggest how natural selection could have led to the evolution of the olm. 5 marks. So my aim of this webinar is to show you how to write this kind of a questions as Unit 2. You may get frequently this kind of a questions. A case is given, it could be animal, it could be plants, and you have to use theory of natural selection to explain how one species become 2 species, and how natural selection, the process of natural selection make to evolve this kind of a species like that. So what I taught you during lessons, so we can remember this as ice age gas. Ice age is inherited variation due to mutation, and organism always face competitions and environmental pressure. So when they have a mutation, these mutated alleles make some physiological or anatomical the adaptations, and they help them to survive. So then they survive in this environment and their gene pool increase, this lead evolution. On the other hand, we can decorate with this one another component. So this could be happen due to a geographical separation, and when they're geographically separated, so they are in a two different area and they can't connect, so it's allopatry. And again, they have another case like sympatric, is special, make different species, but they are in the same geographical location, that is sympatric. So you have to use this format to answer that question. So I will show you now how to use this format to answer the question. So I take the first one, inherited variation. In population arises from mutations that create new alleles. So we know that mutations can make a new alleles. So new alleles may be evolutionarily advantaged to survive. The common ancestors of all lived in Slovenia and Croatia, and maybe they had different phenotypes. So when they had different phenotypes, this phenotype may be not advantageous when the environment change. As we always know that the population increase and the environment change, and there's a competition for food and habitat, then it creates environmental pressure. So then this part is very fixed, this kind of a question. Only thing is, you just remember and just use a little bit wisely according to the questions. So then this part is fixed in our theory. Now we are coming to the most important part, the second part of this question, that is the adaptations. So you have to clearly show adaptations are arising from new alleles. Those are external genes. Why? They can extract oxygen from water. Underdeveloped eyes, not required because they live in a dark. So there is less light and they don't want eyes to see, because if they use the eyes, they again use the energy. So they can conserve the energy. But when they have a higher hearing and sense, then they can use this to attract predators and prey. So the vibrations and some smells of these predators and prey, they can extremely sensitive for this one, and they can find this thing and they can use these extreme senses to catch a prey or escape from predators. Now, lack of skin pigmentation, we know that if there's a bright light can damage the skins, but when they live in this dark area, they don't want to make pigments. So pigments making is again use of protein synthesis and other things, use energy, so they can conserve that energy. And when they have a slow metabolic rate, definitely they can conserve the energy. So we have to always write these questions. There are a few adaptations given, so you have to evaluate this adaptation, you have to extrapolate, you have to expand these adaptations to relevant explanation. Then most of the questions, many marks are given to this place when you write it. The next part, this shows again the model answer. So this is again the map of this area, certain areas, Slovenia and Croatia like things. And the red spots are the identified caves. I took this map from New Scientist magazine to show, as in the question says, olms evolved from small population of amphibians that lived in caves. These caves become blocked off from other caves by rock barriers. Now you can see they don't have an interconnection. This means that geographically isolated. So we have to take this into consideration, and you can write, so they are geographically isolated and lead allopatric speciation, which happen when species are separated by physical barriers like these rocks make the caves, and this separation prevents them from mating, allowing them to evolve into different species over the time. So that's how we have to answer these kind of questions, and you can also use this part as a model answer when you are writing this type of questions. So if you like this video, you can subscribe to my YouTube channels, and you will see this kind of videos frequently.